We have made it all the way to week 11 of college football. Still got a few weeks left of regular season play, but pretty exciting. Like I can't believe we are here. I'm pretty excited just to dive into this. We have a boatload of picks tonight, though. So I think we should just waste no time and skip the pleasantries. And Mike, you can start talking about your first pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami -11 at Georgia Tech. Tech has a combined total of 19 points over the last two games. And they're going to have to score points to keep up in this game. Cam Ward, fun fact, is statistically to a better starting point this year than the last two Heisman quarterback winners were with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. And I just don't see that slowing down at any point. Miami is currently number one. This is crazy in points per game, yards per play, third down conversion, and fourth down conversion. And Tech's just not going to be able to do enough offensively, man. They're giving up 352 yards per game, and they're 79th in the red zone. So I just expect Miami just to, put the pedal to the metal and keep taking off and do what they've been doing all year.
Yep, with Pitt losing last week.
When you say what they've been doing all year, do you mean playing bad teams close?
Oh my
That's
God.
scared.
I know,
year on a short week and traveling coast to coast.
I'm just saying, it makes me nervous.
In first half last week against Duke, I guess, but when you look at the whole game, they still covered with ease.
Yeah, no, I think you're on the right side of this one.
The ACC is Miami's
to lose. Hell
up. Just sit back down, total college football. All right, Stefan, why don't you go ahead and give us your next selection?
Yeah, well, I will start with Friday night game as that's coming up. We're going to take Iowa -6 traveling to UCLA. UCLA has actually kind of been better on the road than at home. I think Iowa just continues to roll here. I was looking at some sort of way to parlay Iowa, like a same game parlay with like the over. I just like them enough to just take them with the 6 points. I don't think that's too big of an ask here. UCLA's defense has been playing better, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Iowa here. So I like this number a lot better earlier in the week when I played it at 4.5, but oh well, here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. UCLA probably looking for an invite back to the Pac-12 after this year. I wouldn't blame them, to be quite honest. All right.
Dude, I just every week I just keep getting shocked more and more. Like I don't want to believe that they're becoming an offensive team, but they are, and it's fun for
Stefan
a change.
told us. He told
Caleb
us
Johnson,
to start
man,
the year.
He's a crazy good running back. So, like actual NFL talent.
Love it. All right, I'm gonna throw out my first one. We're going to go back to the ACC here. Virginia at Pitt. Give me Pitt -7.5. I'll take Pitt on the bounce back here. Pitt was undefeated going to last game. Had a bit of a dud game. I got a couple bounce back picks that I'm a big fan of. So Pitt is 11th, has the 11th best scoring offense, and Virginia has the 88th best scoring points allowed defense. So I think that combination, Vegas has been giving me these numbers lately with what bettors would think is an unfavorable hook. But to be honest, like they've been cashing for us in a few aspects. So I'm going to take Pitt -7.5 at home to have a nice bounce back game against Virginia. Try to keep on pace to get to that ACC title game if they can. So give me the Pitt Panthers.
They cannot, is my guess. Like,
oh my gosh.
Don't you think it's going to be SMU and Miami in the championship?
I was just
game?
kidding. Yeah. I thought you were talking about this game. I was like, man, you were such a hater today.
No,
I do agree with
about
you. SMU's looking really good, and SMU.
I just mean them trying to get back because SMU has a tiebreaker versus them. So I just thought
yeah,
absolutely. But they got to try.
Oh yeah.
Keep it going. So, all right, Stefan, what's your next pick?
So I think this is also this is an early game on Saturday. I think we're going to take my one dog of the week. We're going to take North Texas hosting Army. Yeah, I know Army's real good. Their quarterback is also injured, and they did not look like the same team. Meanwhile, North Texas's offense has been playing really well. I believe they took Tulane to the wire last week, who's very good. So go ahead and I'm going to lay the 4.5 points and root against Army which I do anyway. So
there's a week to feel unpatriotic. It's this one. Anyways,
Heyo.
talk show. I'm proud of you for picking. You guys both have a non-power 5 pick this week, and I feel like that's a nice change of pace. I'm not the only one out here sticking outside the P5. So
you felt lonely over there.
Yeah,
P4 nowadays. That Pac-12 doesn't count anymore.
It doesn't. That's true. That's true.
Oh.
All right, Mike, what you got next?
I'm going to go with a little parlay here. Give me Clemson on the money line versus Vatek, and then Colorado on the money line versus Texas Tech, both on the road. But you can get it at a lovely plus 123. Clemson currently third in the ACC, in front of Pitt, actually. But they kind of came to life a little bit after they played Georgia in week 1. Granted, they did just lose to Louisville, but I think it was 2 weeks ago we were talking about Louisville. They've been better than their schedule has showed. They've played a really, really tough schedule. So it's like they've got to get a win somewhere. So that doesn't completely surprise me. Clemson knows they can't get another loss if they want a shot at the ACC title, let alone the playoffs. So I just expect our favorite person ever, Dabo, to kind of get the team coached up and ready to go here. Colorado, on the other hand, I just want to fade Texas Tech across the board. I have all year. Shador and Travis are just monsters. And Texas Tech defensively is 103rd in the country in points per game allowed and 113th in yards given up in the air. And so I just don't expect them to do anything. Shador is just going to carve them alive, man. So Clemson on the money line, Colorado on the money line at plus 123.
Yeah, Steve and I both have a pick in that Colorado game, so it's a nice little transition. We'll swing over to. I'm taking Colorado over 33 and a half team total points. You can get this at minus 130 right now. So Mike already mentioned that Texas Tech is like one of the bottom teams in the country with points allowed. 5 of the Big 12 teams out of the 6 that Texas Tech has played have put up 34 more points on them. The other team put up 31. So give me Colorado to clear this number, maybe into the 40s. It might be worth a ladder. Colorado's, and I mostly say that, like, I haven't been super cocky about CU this year on this show. But we're coming off a bye, man. If you're going to come up and put it up on a team that's coming off a giant emotional win, and you're not, like, if Colorado's offense doesn't look prepared to just pick Texas Tech apart at this game, I will be severely disappointed as a Colorado fan. What about you, Stefan?
Same exact bet. The last 5 games for Colorado, they've scored 34, 34, 28, 48, and 38. So we all expect them to win. Those were against defenses that, are somewhat more difficult than what you're going to see against Texas Tech. They can score. I think the reason I'm not playing the spread on this one is I think Texas Tech could score as well. Their offense has been really, really good. So I think that actually helps our bet, though. I think it pushes Colorado to keep scoring. And I love the narrative of Shador and Travis playing for, draft capital. They're playing for trophies at the end of the season. Like it behooves them to run up that score. And I love using the word behoove whenever I can.
Love it.
I'm kind of pissed that I did not see that as well on the team total side, and I like that better than my money line. I'm not gonna lie.
I might ladder some points. We will see how it goes. Stefan, why don't you take us to the next thing you got?
Sure. Why don't we stick with totals for just a minute here? Vandy has been one of the surprises of the season, I think, with just, not just surprising Alabama with that upset, but then continuing to play at a high level, coming off this huge Auburn win. But one of the things that they've been doing, while Diego Pavia is an incredible story, they've been doing it with defense. South Carolina likes that kind of game style as well, with a running quarterback and a just ferocious defensive line, probably one of the best defensive lines in the country. So I'm going to take the South Carolina at Vandy total game under 45. It's a low number, but it's not low enough. This might be one that, what's the opposite of a ladder? Like I don't know. I mean, I guess it's still a ladder.
Slide.
It's just going down.
No, it's a shoot. Shoots and ladder. It's a shoot. Yep.
Yeah. So let's shoot this one as well. I didn't have a chance to look at it, but I'll probably do a alt line on this and tease it down to like, probably as low as like 34.5.
I love that. I love
like
it. This is our first shoot we're promoting on the show. That's mostly why.
Disgusting.
I love it. Yeah, I almost want to take Vandy to win, but to be honest, every time I bet against South Carolina this year, I've lost whatever
Yeah,
I bet against
a
them
thing.
on. So like whatever, I'm not betting it, but I like the idea of betting a total.
Yeah, Lord knows they absolutely demolished me last week.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, Mike, you want to just like keep us going in the SEC?
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to stop betting the SEC, and then I bet it again every single week. Give me Miss State plus 14 in the first half against Tennessee. You can get it at minus 121. In my opinion, this is just a lot of points, man. Tennessee does not have a conference win of greater than 10 points across the entire game this season, let alone in the first half. And Miss State, as bad as they're supposed to be, they've played some big games really close. They had a 10-point game against both A&M and Georgia, and they covered this number against Texas. Anybody want to take a guess on how many first half points Tennessee is averaging over the last 5 games?
I'm going to guess it's not much more than 14.
I'm going to guess like 4.5.
2.5.
No way.
2.5 first half points over the last 5 games and 5.8 first half points in the whole season in conference play. And that's because they put up 21 in like their first conference game. I forget who it was against now.
Yeah.
But Tennessee as a whole, I feel like we talk about it every week now. Tennessee is just not who they started the season as. They're finding ways to win some games here and there, but they're not blowing anybody out of the water. So Miss State to cover plus 14, as bad as Tennessee has been in the first half, I'm all over this one.
Oh, that's great. Stefan, why don't you keep us in the SEC? You got a pick for this Mike's Georgia Bulldogs.
Real quick on that Tennessee game. We can't bet player props in Colorado, but on Underdog, you can kind of fiddle around. I love Dylan Sampson for all the reasons you just said. I think this is a huge Dylan Sampson game. But again, running the ball is not going to get you, 14.5 points in the first half. So, in that Georgia Ole Miss game, kind of the same thing. I expect this game to be a competitive defensive game. Ole Miss's defense is one of the best in the country. They are absolutely incredible, and they scheme up really, really well. Meanwhile, Carson Beck, I don't know if he's going to continue throwing interceptions, but I don't think Georgia wants to put him in a position where he has to. So I think we see a lot of Etienne in the first half, especially if he's able to go. Is he able to go? I think we see Frazier running the ball a lot as well. I think we see the pass game start to open up a little bit, but I think it's going to be dinking and dunking, and maybe eventually try to Travis and I were talking this on Total College Football last night. Ole Miss is their one problem is can be missed tackles on the edge. So I think you see Georgia try to attack that, which means a lot of short passes, a lot of screen passes. And they might break 1 or 2 of them, maybe even 3 or 4. But this number of 55.5 is just way too high. I think a lot of that is inflated by Jackson's Dart 6 touchdown game. But Ole Miss, I don't know if you saw their injury report. They got 27 dudes on that report. And most of them are going to play. Lane Kiffin's being an ass, and I kind of love it. But Jordan Watkins is questionable. Trey Harris is questionable. Juice Wells, I don't think he's been himself at all this year. And now Parrish is on the injury report as well. So Jackson Dart might be struggling to find weapons. But again, I think everyone just wants to slow this down and see who can win in the fourth quarter. So to me, the under is the safest play in this one. And I definitely wanted some action on this game. This is the game I'm most looking forward to this weekend.
I like it. You want to hear a fun fact about Georgia's offense as the Georgia nerd over here?
Yeah.
They're averaging more points on offense in games that Carson Beck throws 3 or more interceptions than they are with 0 interceptions.
Just because they have to push it? Is that what
I mean, I guess. I mean,
or
you
is
saw
it just one of those random
Texas,
small sample size stats?
That's got to be it. And it's got to be heavily influenced by Texas because it's only happened, I think, 2, maybe 3 games now. Florida last week, Texas, and I forget what the third one was. But, I mean, the Texas game was kind of wild. I mean, Georgia just actually showed up for a change. Yeah. And we haven't seen them play nearly that level all year. So that's definitely an outlier. They're playing into that. But it's just one of those weird fun facts.
I'm looking at our sheet here. We have a lot of road favorites, and we're betting the Ole Miss under. Like, what could go wrong this week? I can't imagine anything could possibly go wrong this week. All right, I'm going to talk about my next and last pick, and y'all got a couple more for us. Give me Iowa State -3 at Kansas. Give me another bounce back game. I will happily take Iowa State, the Cyclones, to beat an inferior Kansas team. Iowa's defense is 9th in the country in points allowed, only giving up 15.5 points per game. Their offense is just fine. They're nothing they're nothing groundbreaking over here on offense, but they're not terrible. They're going to put up the points, and I just don't think Kansas is going to be able to put up that same response to Iowa State. And I think 3 is a nice little spread there for Iowa State to bounce back. Another team that wants to stay in the conversation for their conference title game. This one's on the road, though, in Kansas.
Yeah, and the funny thing with the Big 12 is at this point, you have no idea what the magic number is for wins you need. Like, all these teams could continue losing to Houston and stupid teams like that, and everyone could still be alive. We have no idea. It's wild. It's fun. It makes it. I love the playoff. I know a lot of people hate it, but to me, I'm excited that the Big 12 is an interesting conversation right now.
Yeah, we don't have any picks on Utah on this show, but the BYU Utah game, it's like, who knows what could happen there? All of a sudden, BYU has a loss, and this, like, you have all these teams with one conference loss or one overall. It's awesome.
I love that Utah line, because we're not betting on Utah this season because of your affiliations. But I love the fact that, like, it started at because I texted you guys earlier this week is like 4.5, and now it's down to like 3, and now moving toward 2.5. So a lot of people on Utah here. It'll be exciting to see what happens in the Holy War. And I love the fact that it's still just like, it's like, we don't want to call it the Red River Shootout, but give us the goddamn Holy War.
There's gonna be some extra soaking going on this weekend. Man, I'm going to that game, and it's going to be freezing, and I'm really psyched about it.
Nice.
I think it's going to be the most electric Utah football experience that I've had, so I'm excited to see that come to life again.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that for you, and I'm excited for warmer weather next week at the CU Utah game. It's going to be sunny and 65. Anyways, we'll talk about that another time. Stefan, why don't you give us another one of your picks?
Well, I have 2 picks left, and they're both first half plays. So why don't I just run through them both real quick here? So, and they're both in the Big 10. So we're going to take Oregon -13.5 in the first half, hosting Maryland. Maryland's going from Maryland, which is, you know where that is, all the way to Oregon, which is real far away. So we're going to take Oregon first half -13.5, a little bit of juice at -125. But this Oregon team has been putting teams away in the first half. The third quarter, they're a little bit slower. And then the fourth quarter, they just, do what they need to do. So give me that first half play. My other first half, give me Indiana -7 at, again, a bit of juice, -130 here, hosting Michigan. I like this a lot. Michigan has really been struggling, and Indiana is just a prolific offense. They do not fail us. I believe one of y'all have a play on Indiana too. I couldn't find the line you found, so I was seeing it at 14 and a hook, which I still like. I'm going to play that as well. I just thought this -7 in the first half was a safer way to play it, and at worst, I feel like I'm getting a push.
Yeah, Mike's got Indiana for us. Why don't you go? Why don't it's not a little transition over to Mike's last couple picks for us here?
Yeah, man, we'll start with the Indiana -14. I had a hunt for this, and I did end up buying off the hook there and got it at -120, and I forgot which book I found it at. So do your research there.
You.
But I mean, dude, Indiana, they've just been balling every week. I mean, granted, they haven't played the toughest schedule, but they have absolutely boat raced everybody they've played.
And that's not changing this week, Mike.
No, it's not. Not even close, man. Michigan, they've just been bad, man. They're going to have to throw the ball to keep up in this game, and they simply cannot throw the ball. Every time I look at their stats, it's amazing. I love it. They're 113th in passes per game, 127th in yards per game, 128th in pass yards per game, and they're 117th in interceptions thrown. So they're just not going to be able to do enough to keep up here. So I'm all over this Indiana -14 game. And Steve, you texted us earlier this week, and then I didn't vet it. Michigan's got some big injuries, right, on defensively?
Yeah. Well, I know they lost their 2 starting corners were unavailable last week. I don't think they're coming back. So that's not a good look at all. I like too that
quarterback's up in the air too.
Indiana's 8-1 on the season against the spread, and Michigan's 2-7 against the spread. I mean, I don't think books feel comfortable making these numbers what they should be, because Indiana is not a brand that people would back then. And so I think a lot of that goes into it, whereas Michigan, it's the exact opposite story. So I love this game for Indiana. I think it's so fun that Indiana is a 14.5 point favorite against the defending national champions. It's beautiful.
It's great. Yeah, I'll spit the football cliche. When you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. So that is Michigan. They pulled Orgy out because they need someone who
one of them's Tim Tebow.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We're not having that discussion. Talk about UNLV, Mike.
Yeah, man. Give me UNLV minus 6.5 in the first half at Hawaii. Barry Odom's just done a really good job coaching this UNLV team this year. They're averaging just shy of 20 first half points a game. And Hawaii's offense is just brutal. They're 121st in the country overall. Hawaii's coming off a win against Nevada and Fresno, but against better opponents, they're averaging just 10 points across the entire game, let alone in the first half. So Hawaii's given up 128 rushing yards per game, and they haven't played a rushing attack near as good as this UNLV team. Dual quarterback threat who's just a stud. So I just expect UNLV to come out hot and just keep rolling. I don't remember. I think the game line on this was at 14.5 as well. But I don't know. The first half just felt better given how hot UNLV likes to start. So give me that.
I wanted UNLV so bad against Boise. I wanted them to win.
That was a good game.
We didn't get
so hot right now.
It was fun. All right. You have reached the part of the show where we run down all of our picks for you. But before we do that, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, X, TikTok, wherever you get your podcasts. Hit like, subscribe, YouTube especially, comment, all of that good stuff. Let's go ahead and run this down. I'm going to kick us off. I got Virginia at Pitt, Pitt minus 7.5. I'll take the Colorado team total over 33.5 at Texas Tech. I will take Iowa State minus 3 at Kansas. Mike.
Give me Miami minus 11 at Georgia Tech. A parlay of Clemson on the money line with Colorado on the money line. Mississippi State plus 14 points in the first half at Tennessee. UNLV minus 6.5 first half points against Hawaii. And Michigan at Indiana. Indiana minus 14.
Stefan, all right, I'm going to go with on a Friday night, Iowa minus 6 traveling to UCLA. We're going to take Michigan at Indiana. We're going to go first half minus 7 for Indiana. We're also going to play Oregon in the first half minus 13.5 hosting Maryland. We're going to take North Texas plus 4.5 hosting Army. I want the under 55.5 in Georgia Ole Miss. I want the under 45 in South Carolina Vandy. And give me the Colorado team total over 33.5. And I did look it up. If you slide all the way over, you can get that Vandy South Carolina under 35.5 for plus 255.
Wow.
And I kind of like that too.
That's nice.
That is great. All right. We killed it last week. We've been making money the last few weeks. So let's go do it again this weekend. We will see y'all over at the NFL show.